What's up, everybody? Fast Hours Podcast, episode 69.
69. There we go.
Nice.
We're doing it.
Rory Flynn, Drew Brucker. We're back 2 weeks in a row. We're hitting our stride again, baby. Let's ride. Let's ride. And if you haven't heard since last week, I mean, Google just dropped a ton of bricks on us with, I don't know, 6 more product names that we got to try to remember in the mix too. And I don't know. We're lost now.
It's weird, man. It's like I tuned into IO for like 5 minutes, and then I saw the video was like an hour long, and it had already introduced like 5 things. I'm like, I'm going to X to find someone who's just going to summarize this for me.
Please. Please.
Yeah.
That's exactly right, man. Yeah. I mean, there was a lot, with, we're going to go through all these too. And, I think like there's still a lot of velocity going on with these different feature / product releases that are happening all the time. But I don't know, man. I don't know if it's just a little bit of fatigue setting in, or it's just like now we know what it is. It's just they're just most of the time so much more hype than actual real game-changing things, and I think like if you were to ask them, everything feels game-changing, like, oh my God, this just happened, like look, these 10 examples are just crazy. You're not going to believe this. And then, you and me are probably the same. We're going through, we're looking at this stuff. We're like, oh, cool. Maybe I'll try this. I need to do this. I wonder if it could do that. And then, things kind of just settle down just a little bit. And you're just like, yeah, I actually, I don't know. I don't need that. I'm probably not going to use that, or the reality of it sets in and maybe it's not as consistent or as quality or as fidelity as, whatever we would expect from these jumps. Because I mean, the reality is anytime like we get a consumer product and it's the next phase, it should undoubtedly be better, or it feels like we're expecting it to be better. Maybe that's the right way to put it. But then, after a while, it's like fool me once, like this Sora thing, like just still crushes me. Whereas like, hey, we're doing Sora. No one can access it though for like a year. We're not even going to talk about it. It's just like, what are we doing? But you know what this kind of feels like in that sense is like the iPhones. How much of the iPhones really changed over the last 10 iterations? You've got, some of the camera upgrades. Right, there might be like some new emojis that you can use.
New operating system. Ooh,
but it just at the end of the day, it's just like I'm just getting it because my other ones, I've had it and it's slowing down, or I just need it. But it's before you you would go out. At least I would. Like I would wait. I'm like, oh man, this is a significant upgrade. We go get this, but that's been a while, man. That's been happening for a while. So this kind of feels like that same thing where. At first you get excited and then you kind of, you read more into it or you play with it. And I don't know, just things get dampened a little bit.
To iPhone's credit, I actually think like it works for someone like me because like at the end of the day, I don't use all the features. Like I use like 10 features on the phone. Like I use my text, my email, the internet, and then a couple apps. And then like, I never use any of the special customizations. I know people do. They love that stuff. And like, I just like don't. So it's like, when I see the new one come out, I'm just like, all right, like, do I need it? I think I still have a 13. Like I just use, I just use it. It's fine. Like can't do this stuff from my phone. You know what I mean? So it's like, what else? It's not like I can, it's like I'm using it that much for work other than to like answer emails.
Same.
Stuff. But
same. I think same for me. Like I'm not in a rush to go with one. And even this time, I even cracked my whole screen is cracked. I mean, it's a real bad crack too. And I'm just like, you know what? After the first week, it's like, I don't even care. I mean, I'm used to the crack now, and I'm not going to just go out and get a new phone, especially if there's not really this huge upgrade that's taking place. Like, I'm just going to hold on to it, man.
What are we at now, current model? Let me just check this.
I think we're on 17, right?
17. All right. So I still have a 13. Still have 13.
And I is 17. So I think it's 18 in September because they usually do like a September.
Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah, that's typically when it is. I think.
So I think that's 18 in September then.
It's like I've stopped getting the new ones. Like the only time, like the last one I got, the 13, I just maxed it out on size and storage capacity, And then like that's the only reason why I've been getting new ones. You know, it's like,
Bro,
oh,
that
I have
is the
storage.
worst part though.
Yeah.
I'm always like I don't know if I have the max one, but I have like the second highest storage thing, and I've just got so many videos on there,
Yeah.
and I'm constantly bumping up against the cloud, and I'm just like, oh my god, like I gotta go find videos that I just am okay with to delete, you know. And it's tough now because like all the videos I have left now are like videos of the kids, so it's like
Yes.
then I got to go through each video, and I'm like, oh, is this video actually really good of my kids or my dude? It sounds so bad, but I'm like, I'm not paying for more storage space at this point. Like, I'm not going to do that.
It starts to make sense as to why they only update the camera and why they only make it look slightly prettier every time because they probably know from usage data. That's all anyone ever does.
Probably. Yeah, that's a good
There's
point.
like 1% that wants to like hot wire it to be like a tuner vehicle. But,
Yep.
we're just using it on the go. Like you're scrolling your social media, doom scrolling yourself into death, and then also taking pictures and then using apps to like order food and read your email and send group chats. Like that's it.
That's true, bro. That is true.
But I find it to be like it's interesting because it's like it makes sense. But like then we're at the point with these other tools, right? Like I see Google as being right now like because we have the money and the dev power. Let's just throw 1 million products out and see what sticks. Like they don't care if something fails. I don't think at least that they have enough money. Like they, but then they'll do stuff where they change things that I don't know if it needs to be changed. Like they change Google search. It's like, did we ask for that or did you just want to do that? And like, I
Yeah.
don't know if I'm going to like it as much, whatever. But they added a bunch of features. I think there's probably like 20% good stuff, 80% like fluff. And also kind of sucks for them at their big events in June. And you have, Seedance drop this model because everyone's been waiting for VO4. It's like, oh, when's VO4 going to come out? When's VO4 going to come out? Because VO2 and VO3 weren't that far apart. And now VO3 and VO4 are far apart. And this Omni, I don't think it's the same thing.
It's like not the same thing. Yeah.
No, it's like, to me, it's like a retro. It's like Midjourney dropping like a V8.2. Like I feel like it's like that. Because I don't see any increase in quality or performance or capability.
You got any theories there? Like we were just talking before the show. I mean, you said something interesting. Is like the mechanics or physics of something like a car just driving forward.
Yeah, it's getting worse.
Without having to instruct it, right?
Yeah. It's getting worse.
Yeah.
I don't know why. There's no speed. Like you can't get unless you're doing text to video. I've been finding, if anyone else is finding otherwise on with the Google products, let me know. Like speed, like doing anything fast, like doesn't work with VO3 anymore. Like it used to just be like, oh, I can do text to video. Yes, you can get like hyperlapse and you can get like really fast motion, but
Yeah.
other than that, it just wants to make everything slow and like cars so slow it doesn't even look natural. That it's like drive. It's like and then you can see it. I see like a lot of these like spec commercials and like brand commercials that people have done posted on LinkedIn and whatever. It's like the car stuff looks so fake. It's like it's not moving at the right speed.
Yeah.
It looks like it's moving at 15 miles an hour. So it's weird. I don't know what's going on there. To say I'm disappointed considering I was hoping for something a little bit better, I'm disappointed in that.
Yeah.
What they've done with the platforms though are a little bit, there's definitely some good stuff there, but I don't know. Like it's just like Seedance. That's it. I don't even think you can't compete with that. And Kling is better, honestly.
Yeah. It still feels like Seedance Kling than VO3, right?
Yeah.
What about here's basically what I was talking about, where we were sort of saying we've been making fun of this for a while, but maybe this is the post that you saw with Brownlee on here. It's like it's getting genuinely difficult to keep track of all the names of AI products being unveiled. In the last hour, Google's unveiled Google Pics, which is not Google Photos. It updates to Google Flow, Nano Banana, VO, all media generation, Google Anti-Gravity, Gemini Spark, Gemini Omni, and Gemini 3.5 Flash. And if this is confusing to people like us, Rory,
Yeah. I have no idea.
then it's a big problem.
It's so annoying. It's like, but then they change everything. They change everything all the time. So it's like they just like decide to drop stuff, and it's like, oh, we have a new name for this, but like we, just this is now this, and you're like, what?
Are you using Gemini at all?
I
Are you a
use it as,
Gemini
like,
guy? Like, or do you stick to ChatGPT and Claude at this point?
Gemini for anything like question/search related. Like if I'm going to use Google, I'm using Gemini. You know what I mean? Like,
And where are you using Gemini at? Are you using it inside of Google Flow? Yeah.
No, just in Gemini. I just type
Just in Gemini? Okay.
and just go.
Yeah.
It's like it's like the way I search for stuff now. Like if I have specific questions, not like if I have like a general question. Like if I have a general question, I just dump it into Google. It's just
Yeah.
what is this? Bang, enter. It gives you the AI summary anyway, so
Right.
it's like the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's like less and less. I'm asking I'm not wasting Claude tokens on those questions. Those are valuable.
Are you not on the max plan with Claude?
I'm on the max plan, but I have some
Are you
long
hitting
running tasks that max stuff out.
Oh. Are you on the 200?
The 200, yes.
And
It's like
you're
some of the
still
stuff. Well, it's when it's like these long running like 3D tasks that are working,
Okay.
with Blender MCPs and like all this other stuff that I'll sit there in the background. I just hear my computer fan blowing. And I'm like, all right.
It's like, dude, again, you're gonna make me do this again?
It's like, why?
I'm tired, Rory.
It's crazy. Like I never like really understood the whole like, oh, it burns electricity thing. Like in theory you understand it, but like I see it if I don't have my computer plugged in and I run one of those tasks, it's just like 100%, 30%. Like by the time it's done, it's just ripping. So yeah, definitely something that I've noticed as of recent.
Let's give people, I guess, a quick synopsis on what all these things are in case you don't know. So Gemini, which, I mean, let's be honest, I think I know partial answers to these. So Gemini 3.5 Flash. So this is the update to the LLM model, help you execute complex agentic workflows. Rivals flagship models deliver frontier performance for agents and coding at the lightning speeds you expect from the Flash series. Benchmarking wise, I don't know if you're into data and analytics and all that, right? Like obviously this is like, peak in some of these, but let's see, kind of UI control, multimodal,
like I don't understand
understanding
how
and
any of those are
reasoning.
tested or classified anyway. So it's like whenever I see the numbers, I'm like, is that just a marketing?
I agree.
decision, or
Dude, that is such a good point. Because, right, like reading through this, what's the literacy level of people that are going to come across this? I think unless you're in, you're in LLM at the expert level, you probably understand this. Unless you're that, you don't. I mean, these are just numbers to me. I don't know what goes into them. I don't know how they're tested. I don't know how big of a difference or delta, a 2% increase is that notable or not?
Yeah,
or does
that's
this
what I
just
mean.
look good to say it, right? To your point of like, hey, benchmarking the highest. Which
but it's like
everybody
but
says
the
at any
numbers
given
aren't
moment
that
of time.
impressive. It doesn't look like they're that impressive in comparison to the other ones. Even if I don't know what I'm talking about, it still looks like it's not great.
I'd be curious if listeners are using that yet, if they've tried that. I mean, there's also
will
this.
say-
Go ahead.
For like everyday tasks on like doing search stuff like this, it is way better. Like for if I was to go, like just like even the way they dreamed it up. Like here, I'll share my screen. Like we'll just do this real quick. Like this is, I know everyone's doing this. It has nothing to do with this has nothing to do with like creative or whatever. But if we just go into like if we go into Gemini, and I say find me 5 restaurants like Meadow Sweet in Williamsburg or Greenpoint, right? Like this is, to me, like they make this interactive experience very nice because it's all linked to Google. I think ChatGPT has some of this as well. Now, like Claude doesn't really do this. But
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
if you're searching and you're searching for this stuff, which I find to be, what I use Gemini for all the time, or like asking general questions, it'll pull all this stuff together and then like display it.
Yeah.
really
Rich
nicely.
results. Yeah. Like visual results.
yeah, you can see it. You can like go through the Google images. You can go through the ratings. Like it's all tied together, right? Like I like how it does this. Like maps it out. Uses the Google Maps. It like pulls the different things. It gives you typically gives me like the address and the phone number. But again, like just having access to all the Google products and doing stuff like that. You can map me different routes, whatever. I'm not saying this is like mind blowing. I'm sure everyone does this every day. It's just I find that to be helpful when it's linked to all of its other products. And it's good. You want to know what's weird about Gemini? And I find it answering questions when I ask questions like without me giving it context, and I don't know where it got the context from. Like it was. I asked it the other day because I'm, talking about this last week, getting a new car, and I had to find I could not find the title to my vehicle, so I had to get a duplicate. Yeah, fun stuff, right? And I said something like, how would if I'm going to do this, right? Like, what's the best way, most efficient way to get this in the shortest period of time? Blah 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 blah.
Yep.
Can I get a digital copy? Who do I have to call? But whatever. And it goes, well, if you want to talk to, if you're looking to get a duplicate title for your car VIN number X with, to send to X company that I'm buying the car from.
No way.
And I'm like, this one is specifically connected to my personal Gmail, not to the business account that I use.
And this is not coming from memory or knowledge within.
No.
Wow.
It's like, never discussed it before. And I was like,
Yo.
what is it? Do I have some documents in my Google Drive somewhere or my email somewhere? Which it wouldn't be because it's not attached to that email. I'm like, how the hell do you know that?
Dude, that is wild.
Right? And I was like, is it going through my browsing history? Like, because it is connected to everything, so that one was just weird to me that it knew that. And I was just like, okay, that's weird. It does it every once in a while. Only Gemini, though. Like, Gemini will throw out that weird, like, context knowledge where you're like, I don't know how you knew that. But, like,
jeez, bro.
A little weird.
Yeah. Oh
Protect that search history, guys. I don't know what else is going on. You're working in Chrome. I'm sure it can access all that data if it wants to. But big bad. It's like, you seen this, the ChatGPT? There's like certain things I won't connect. Like I saw ChatGPT has finance and health. I'm like, what do you just want? You just want to like know everything,
right? Yeah, dude. I'm glad you brought that up. I was like,
I don't want to do that.
People instantly jumping in, and then you've got people that are just blindly jumping in.
Yeah.
And look, everybody here is a grown up. You can do whatever the hell you want. And I'm not even going to say that I won't do it in the future. I just think like it feels too early to opt in to that without knowing enough about it, because so you've got the people that are blindly jumping in. Then you've also got people that I was kind of like reading through some comments, and it was just like they're rationalizing it through the idea and the justification where it's like, well, they already know everything anyway. They already have all this and I think that's like a nice, convenient justification for things. And we all do it. I'm guilty of this as well. But whenever I see that, I'm like, but that doesn't mean like you actually don't fully know that. You're guessing that they have this stuff. And, even in that capacity, is it at the level that you're doing with this? Because it feels like, I don't know. You're probably thinking about the same way I am, Rory, but it's just like not only personal, but like just as a business owner, I want them seeing every single thing coming in.
It's also mapping how I think, that's what I mean. Like it already knows.
Machine learning through my purchasing history, right? Like
all of that.
Subscriptions.
Really freaks me out. Like
behavior to cancel subscriptions.
The body stuff, like even your health stuff. Like I don't want it to know that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just
sounds
I don't
cool,
know.
But
it feels too early. It feels like too early. I feel like we're gonna get pushed to do this stuff at some point. That's the whole AI thing is this really just big. There are good parts, there are bad parts, and that to me, like when we start kind of like coming together and fusing human and machine even more, that's where it starts to get too. I just don't like it. I mean, change has to happen, but there's going to be some monumental changes, I think, with this in the very, very near future, because of the velocity, how fast this stuff's moving, man. I mean, you know, you think about like radio and TV and internet, and like those took decades and things to happen. And, you know, there were changes, but not like monumental changes, maybe like once internet and social media kind of thing. But this is going to rewire how we do a lot of stuff. And we're getting a lot of the good stuff now, but I feel like that also could be this trap, right, where we're so now invested in, again, justifying and rationalizing that we have no other choice, you know?
It just feels a little weird. Like I just don't want so much knowledge of me. Like I know it has enough to like probably predict my decisions, but also like it doesn't need to have every bank account number. It doesn't need to know like
I don't want it shaping my behavior. You know what I mean? Like that's where we get to the point where it's going to start shaping behavior if you're opting too far into things. Also, I mean, you got to be careful of that stuff. Anyway, we're getting kind of dark. We're getting kind of dark here, but like I don't know. I'm sure everybody's thinking about this too. I mean, these, you know, all this stuff's happening fast and in the moment, and you know, I don't know. Like, I just a lot of these conversations kind of sit in my head, so I think it's good to talk about it out loud. But also, what do you know? Kind of going back to this Google thing for a second. Let's talk Omni for a brief minute too. I mean, so Google drops this. Runway drops Aleph 2.0. They feel somewhat similar, Aleph and Omni, in the sense that, you know, your video editing, you can swap things in. Here's sort of like this video here where this girl's just kind of showing different things. And then she's got a bunch of different examples here of what's possible. So maybe we just kind of like run through these in case you guys haven't played with it and try to understand like what this actually does. But I think in terms of like just video creation and a lot of those like physical movements and those complex things that Seedance was getting right, Omni is not the answer. It's not the competition.
No, it's not. And that's the thing, is that the first thing I did was put a complex video in there from Seedance that I made and was like, let's try to replace the characters. No chance. Not even. So like, you know, it's like first bad, like I think this stuff, it's like a lot of it's novel. You know, like it's like, oh, great, I can switch the background. But when you actually do it, it looks like shit. So it's like, all right, well, what's the point of this? Like, how many times do I have to switch the background? Like, it doesn't say, it seems cooler than, oh, you can change to any style. It's just like, yeah, that's just like fun, but is it practical? Like, do I need to change to every style? Will that work for maybe one project that I'm doing? So, I don't know. I found there's a couple cool things that it can do. You know, the ingredients feature is way better now. At least for my first like go at it. Like, here's like 6 images, make something with this, which is actually nice instead of having to like control every portion of it. Yep. Does it do as well as Seedance does with Omni? No. Does it do as well as Kling does? Similar. Kling is really good, but there's just something off. Like, why I don't understand how they went from VO2 to VO3 really quick, and how VO2 is still excellent at some things. Like, it's still like really good, and VO3 and 3.1, like 3.1 is just like, I just like stopped using it.
Is 3.1 like the most forgettable thing they've done? I mean,
it wasn't anything special. Like, it was just, and everything got like overly saturated. Like the cool like sort of analog look that VO2 was able to attain, but like lacked a lot of detail. Like, it wasn't as crisp. And then VO3 comes along and you can have, you know, talking and sound, which was the game changer. And then just like didn't iterate off it. Like, nothing really happened. It's still been sitting there for almost a year, I think. Hold on, let's check this.
Yeah.
When was VO3 released?
That feels like it's been a year now, right?
May 2025.
Dude, like exactly yes. A year.
And we're here, and we're basically a few extra features on this. And like, I would say that VO3 I got better results with than 3.1. And then Omni is just like Sorry, everyone, for hating. It's just like you get, you have these people have these big events, and there's just there's definitely like a pandemic of this lately where
Well, and
everyone
there's
is like
that pressure
overhyping.
too, where they've
Yeah,
got to like they're so used to just dropping a bunch of products at these big events, and you
yeah.
got to wonder how much of that is just to get this across the finish line to that event versus actually being something that they're really, really satisfied with. Maybe they are satisfied with it. I don't know, but
Not good enough. Like, speaking from just like what Seed Dance has, and you're not close to that, so it's 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 tough. This is what happens when like you drop Nano Banana and everyone else has to, sort of catch up, which people did. ChatGPT caught up in some way, shape, or form. There's a few other tools that have caught up, but like it was them and only them for a while. Same thing with VO3. It was them and only them. But I think this one kind of a flop in my early testing. I kind of need to be blown away by this stuff now to use it right away.
yeah, I would agree.
If it doesn't do something cool in the first like 5 or 6 tries, I'm like, all right, why waste the time learning it if it's not going to be part of the workflow? So
Couldn't agree more.
you gotta like, and that's where we're at. But I've seen like, I was saying like we were talking about Higgsfield last week, and while they're making really smart moves, they had this supercomputer launch thing, and it was like really, they had like added this clipper skill, right? Where it was like, oh, it'll take your YouTube videos the same way that like Opus Clip and all those things does, and like it's like using agentic reasoning to find the viral moments, and like so I'm going in there, I'm like, all right, I'll give this one shot, see how this works. And the stuff it put out was just like garbage. And then I wrote like a really long system prompt with ChatGPT on what exactly to find in the video, how to cut it, what to add, what to do, like how to edit it together, what the transitions should be, like everything. Sent it. It basically sent me the same video as the first time, like the same thing, like no change. And I was like, okay, all right, well this isn't a clip. This isn't going to
Interesting.
ruin Clippers' lives because Clippers are really good at what they do. Whole internet subculture. Love that. Love that space.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was a whole subculture.
Oh yeah.
Like I had no idea till I was in a rabbit hole the other day reading about it.
Some like 15-year-olds that probably make like $1 million a year.
Yeah.
They're just killer at doing this stuff. And there's the bounty thing is the best thing. I love that stuff. Where it's like they'll put out, that's what those guys. That's how you see like, a lot of the big YouTube stars and the
Yeah, they've got an
streamers.
army. Yeah, that's what I
The
I
bounties
mean,
on impressions.
it makes
You hit it, you
sense.
get
I
it.
just didn't
Yeah.
like. I never thought about it before, but I don't think anybody's really nailed the auto slash agentic best moments of a video. Especially
Yeah.
like I always run that like because we use Riverside, and I think Riverside does a pretty good job. But I also will kind of go through some of the ones that they do for you, right? Like the shorts and whatnot. And I'm like, I'm just really genuinely surprised how you landed on the score, but also that particular clip because I'll think of something that we talked about that's sort of it was maybe even on that topic, but there was a better part of it than that.
Yeah.
And that's not a knock against Riverside. I love Riverside, but that's the same with most of these other ones. I used to work for a company called Goldcast. The same thing. They would kind of give you, the recommended clips. What was the other? What's the other one? I can't think of the other
Opus.
ones now. Opus and
Yeah.
but like none of them feel like they nail it. And so that's an interesting spot to get into unless you're really like you've nailed that at this point. But I guess I get it.
And they hate our format. They hate two stack double wide on the 16:9 plus then the screen. It doesn't know what to do with it.
Doesn't know what to do. Well, I got to go into like on Riverside, which is cool though. You could click like you can change the layout after the fact. So they're gonna clip it for you and then go in and edit it. I could hypothetically like change what part is highlighted and so forth, right? But you can also affect the layout. So like even if I were to take this right here, I could turn this into a 9:16 and have the screen kind of be in the middle of us, right? Where one of us is on top, one of us on bottom. Well, Pause. But you know what I mean. It's in the middle. All right. Screen's in the middle.
I'm also probably going to say this. Maybe I'll speak for you. Maybe I won't. You can tell me. The last time I did this or said this on a podcast, by the way, my inbox was flooded with like editors and people that wanted to make clips for the show and stuff like that. And it was
like, here we go.
Like, let's, because this isn't like a overwhelming need for us. I'm just throwing that out there. Please do not just spam my inbox with requests for this. I'm not. Drew and I don't have. This isn't like a major investment for us. This is we come on here and we try to give as much value as possible. But it's like I just remember last time I said that and it was like, hey, we can make like 1 million clips for your videos for like $10,000 a month. I'm like, I think I'm good. I think we're set.
I get those all the time for our podcast. Yeah. I don't know why it comes to my email, but it's the same thing. It's like, hey, it's either guests, like somebody from a PR that's doing PR for people.
Oh yeah.
Or they're trying to do clipping,
The clip. That's why I like the clipping model. It's like if you want to go out and get us 1 million views, I'll pay you. But like, until like, honestly, like I don't know if we have like the most aggressive model for clipping. Like our stuff is more longer form in nature and more tutorial in nature and more sort. It's not like quick hitter like comedian podcasts that is just like you can say something ridiculous and that'll crush 1 million views
right
on YouTube Shorts. But diversion. Sorry, let's back to this.
No, you're good. You're good.
I think and let me now that I've been talking so much smack about Google, let me show you something real quick. I'll show you like what I'm talking about. So this. I was doing this in Flow, right? Like first thing I did this like capoeira video, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I hope I am. With Seedance, right? And it was really impressive how good it was. And I think we'll just see if I can pull this up real quick on my profile, right? Like super intense movement, right? Like we did this last time, right? Like you see sort of what's happening here with, these guys are kicking, the balance, the sort of the physics of everything that's happening here, the camera movement, all this stuff is going on. Really crazy. It's like a really complex video for something to make. So I'm like, all right, Google's saying we can just, swap characters or swap styles. Like, all right, let's go try it. So I put it in here and I'm going to try to, let me get the sound off because there's no point of having it. But,
it's not following it that closely.
Not at all. It's like the only thing that's following is the camera motion. Right? I think that's like the one thing that's happening. Like the camera motion's going, but like it's having these jumpy cuts. Like you can see the platform is sort of like wobbling, right? It's very strange. Then I was like, okay, that's not going to work. So then I did. Let me just go to Runway real quick, see if I can get in here. And I'll show you what I did with Aleph. I should probably just put this together. Let's see. Where is the... Oh, see, Runway's so different now. I'm like, where did I do this?
I know they keep changing.
Here, this is Aleph where I tried to do the same thing. Just swap the guys for panda bears, right?
I mean, wow. I mean, we're hybrids now. Yo.
We're morphing during the whole thing, which is like whatever. So, like again, like when that's the first thing you tell, when it's like, oh, you can just swap people. It's like, well, you can't for everything. That obviously didn't work. Naturally, I didn't push it too much further after that. But I think there was some things that were pretty cool, right? Like this is the one thing that I would mention, right? Like this is the new sort of flow look, which I thought,
feels like Midjourney a little bit.
It's definitely better in here. There's a few things that are interesting now where you can upload images, you can upload videos, characters. You can basically like generate a character and build a voice, which is nice, right? If you want to keep consistency, it's just a good feature. Scenes, basically you have your little video editor timeline, uploads, where you're uploading stuff. This was a cool thing to me. I liked this idea where they basically put like AI Studio in Flow, and it was like, all right, let's if you need to do something, like if you want a tool here to use with Flow, but it doesn't exist, you can just build it yourself, which is
Right.
kind of things that we've been doing, right? Like these little extra tools that we have, but like the first three things I tried just didn't work. So
Interesting.
like the video out painter, I wanted it to like, can we build a video out painter? So if I put something in at 16:9, I can change it to 9:16, right? Just outpaint. Keep the video static right in the middle. Outpaint doesn't work. This one, I tried the other one I tried to do was a video stitcher. Was like basically clip one, clip two. So like when you're doing keyframe shots and you have two separate generations, but you want to attach them, generating like the middle portion and or just like being able to stitch it, didn't work. So that's the first two tools I tried. So naturally, uh, I'll probably have to try something else, but there's definitely some creative way like this I find myself I might be using the most. Like I'll probably go in here and use a lot of this stuff and build this stuff, but that was that was a little bit sad.
It feels, yeah, that's weird. I wondered too, though. It feels like in this sense, it's a smart move for them because if you're building it in here, they're able to get all of that information you're using to build it as well. So they're becoming smarter and more advanced with, they could iterate on somebody's kind of okay tool and make it great. They're also getting a lot of information on probably how things are working or not working, to your point. I do. I mean, I think like creating tools is a fun part of AI right now. It's kind of a really novel thing because beyond like I guess being an engineer or a builder or something like you're really truly creating something from nothing. This feels very childlike. It feels like this feels like something really cool when you're able to just create something that just a year ago, 2 years ago, couldn't, like, we didn't know we were ever going to be able to do this stuff. I think that's the cool part as well, right? Like, I think it was a couple episodes ago or whatever, I was showing you like some of those like little Chrome extensions. It's like, what? Like, I mean, it's so, it's now it's pretty simple,
Yeah.
but like before is like, there are too many things here I don't know, to ever spend a bunch of time trying to figure that out. And,
Yeah.
that's where like sort of the curiosity thing and the play thing and the creativity thing is just kind of like one of the best parts about this stuff at the moment.
So that's the interesting part. Is this is the first time I've really been using like the agentic side of creation in here, this is like for me for stills, this is like the best part of Flow now. Like I had this image in Midjourney that I just made and I was like, all right, cool, let's go use the agent mode, which, it's just like basically having chat in here now. And I was like, oh, can you go create 10 different creative styles for this image and just like give me like some different like art direction, right? It generated all 10 at once, which is nice. I'm pretty sure you can just ask for a bunch, which I kept doing. And then I was like, oh, all right, can I ask it to go search? Like these are crap ads. Like I was like, oh, create 10 ads for Athletic Greens. Go search their website, find all these different things, make them all like annotated hero style, add this kind of stuff. Like a big long prompt for it not to come out the way that I wanted it to. But regardless, it took 10 different directions, found 10 different sort of like style templates that it would use for it, and then did it, which was like, all right, cool, whatever. But then I took one of these images and I was just like, all right, build like a 10 different vantage points of this, like using different depths and perspectives, right?
Yeah.
I was able to do that. Then I used one of the other ones and said the same thing, like with different style. Then I was like, all right, cool. Like, let's take this and then, make like action driving scenes or whatnot. And it's just, I'm like, just create 10, create 10, create 10, which, now knowing that it can do that instead of like 4 is the limit, I can just ask for like 20. I'm sure there's a bunch of other, I'm trying to see like if you can update, if you can upload, I don't think so. I was wondering if you could upload like a spreadsheet in here of just like, if you have like a spreadsheet of like shot lists and sort of directions all in one sort of place, if it could go and execute like that, that would be cool. But this was the first video I did with Omni where I just, let's see, I added 6 images, or where is it? I said, just create a fast-paced Instagram reel with these 6 clips. So I just gave it the 6 images from here, and it did relatively good job. Where's the actual video here? They need to label these things better.
Right. Yeah.
Where is it? There it is. So like,
Okay. So generate 6 images, stitch them together. Yeah.
so like okay, decent. Like for no direction and just like
Right.
here's 6 images. Like that worked like decent. It's very much like Kling Omni in that sense. But this is the one I'm talking about where I gave it the 6 driving images. Let's see if we can. I don't know if we can see that. It should be like this one, maybe like this one, and one other one. But this is what I'm talking about, like the driving stuff. Like just watch how awkward it looks. Like it doesn't look like the physics don't look right. And then there is one like really weird physics moment, which annoys the hell out of me that it still does this kind of stuff. But so like decent turn. There we're going like I don't know if you
It was like floating for a second.
I don't know if you saw that jump, but let's here right. Oh, we're launching. What is that? Just like so random. I don't know why it's doing that.
Yeah.
Here looks like it's moving really slow. Like it looks like it's gliding. Doesn't look like it's driving. There, physics are off. Wheels still spinning. Like why is this hard? Like this is something I could do with VO2. I mean, it's something I could do with Runway, Gen 2. Like shouldn't be that hard. I mean, look, it came up with it took the images and made something. Right? I didn't give it much direction. I didn't give it much, but still, like driving should be relatively easy now at this point, and I don't understand why that's hard.
Well, and this is the gap too between, they're pumping all the hype around the updates, and if the people that are using these tools the most right now have to really go to extra lengths to get good results, then it's way too early to be super excited about it for the rest of the people, because you can't expect anybody that isn't doing this stuff all the time to go into these tools to begin with. It's already hard to get somebody to like, where do I begin? And then, to go in and then not get the results or get defeated right away. I mean, all this has to become easier to get to in terms of like the consistency. Google's not obviously doing itself any favors with all the different product names and how they connect together. I just don't know how the general pop are going to sort of like understand what's happening with this. But I don't know, man. It's wild out there. It's wild. I mean, who haven't we heard from in a while? I feel like it's been a while since Kling did something, hasn't it?
They're probably due. They had the quickest pace of anyone like for updates when we did that at the end of the year. So it's like they're typically like every 3 months and something new happens. I mean, they had the 4K model drop, which was great, and it's actually really good. There's just like there's things that I don't see people being able to do like this. I did this with Seedance yesterday, which I was actually, I hope my friend will never watch us, but I did it with him anyway. He sent us a picture. He was on a construction site, and he sent us like a picture of him like in the heat when it was like 95 degrees in a porta potty. Sorry, Tom.
Dude.
This is like I was like, oh, we can like now like animate this, right? But then also like, just like it's stupid. That one was that one's a little jacked up, but I think this one was a little bit better. Just like the physics of being able to roll the camera within here, even though it's not physically correct, right? It's still better than any other model is going to get. You're not going to come close to that, right? And it looks like iPhone
that's
footage.
great.
Because then we're like, oh, could we generate like a funny hook image for that or a hook video with it? It's like,
baby,
like what actually hit him. So that was like, all right, we can just like you can't do this stuff. I think I had one too with Seedance, just to like show some of the Seedance stuff where it's really interesting. of what you're able to do. I did this with. I got to send this to Billy, also our friend of the show, friend of the podcast, Billy Bowman. I don't know if I'm going to find it here or where did I do it? Here. All right. So I took, I got to send this to him after. I took our friend Billy Bowman. If you guys aren't familiar, Billy has been on our podcast before. He's an AI director. They ran a big stunt in California where they put up his name with Fiverr to like launch their new product, which was a AI sort of like vetted AI director sort of portal, right? So he sent us this picture. Right, so I drew this little sketch because I wanted to see, like, I was testing Higgsfield's viral clip analyzer thing that they have, which is cool. So I was like, oh,
Look at that sketch, brother. Look at that sketch.
Solid, right? Do you know what that is? Do you know what that is from the sketch?
I've got some guesses.
So use GPT Image 2 to set it up like this, to where it's like, all right, we can get him. I added a hat just because I was going to be like, if I'm going to do this, I might as well do it for a brand. And then, like, just have you ever tried golf swing on any other platform? Like, tried to get it to do it? Midjourney video was the only one that ever came close to like actually hitting the ball.
Yeah, actually, I was going to say, you know what? That's the only time I've ever run that, and it was on Midjourney, and it wasn't terrible. I actually got a few decent results on that. Yeah.
So here's the ball getting hit out of Billy's mouth here. Have him say
Seedance too. I've done it actually.
Yeah, right. And then like the swing, contact good, like all of that good except for this little ball at the end here.
Oh,
but like,
that's solid though.
That's what I'm saying. Like this could pass. Like this could 100% pass. Like the reaction.
Maybe he was laying under the ball.
But. Like this is what I'm saying. Like try to do this if I try to do this in Flow, actually, you know what? We'll just run it while we're talking in the background, and we'll see how good Omni is. Like I just wanted to show that, just to be like that's where things are. Like realism plus physics plus control plus that's why you can't drop the ball now because the tools are too good, and it's really annoying for some of these things that we're complaining, right? Like I should also say, like, I apologize everyone for complaining, but I'm also I don't know
we keep it real, bro. That's what we do.
I don't know if you're like this now. I'm super impatient with the tools now, whereas I used to like work for something on like a while.
I agree.
To get it to work.
I agree, right? Because it was like those early days. It was just like everything was so novel. Now it's almost like an iteration on the novelty. Like, like those first things have been done for the most part in a lot of ways. And then it's like they're iterations or next versions, or there's a slight tweak or one different thing that you can do. And I don't know. Yeah, I think it's a product of that. And it's a product also that we probably just don't have as much time as we used to. And
there also wasn't other stuff to do. Like, it wasn't like, oh, it was like, there's one other tool to play with.
Yeah.
There's like a million. It's like, let me figure out something else that's useful now. Like, you can't wait around for you to figure this out.
I do want to play around with the supercomputer stuff a little bit. I do want to try it. That's one thing that I've had up in my tab bar for the last 2 weeks, whatever it dropped, and it's just sitting there, and I need to give it a go a little bit. Same with like, did you play around with Google Pomeli lately? Like, have you touched that in a while?
Not since their last update. I did like when they added the new like the more updated like design. What's it called? I'm totally blanking on the design system. Like features and like. It was Nano 2 then instead of Nano Pro, and I just like I don't like these agentic platforms that much. Like I feel like they just cut a lot of corners to like
cut corners,
so you don't have to like think about it. You know, it's like
I think that's a really good point. Yeah, because I think like I don't know, maybe that's also something that we've experienced because I think you're the same way. It's almost like. It's almost like that example. Remember how we were showing that sea dance video where the fighters, right?
Yeah.
But it's like this idea of like reverse engineering it or like getting behind the scenes of what it is. You know, I feel like you and me are much more used to like digging into it, like the layer of it. Like, what is this actual, like, how could I replicate this in words and through context and like capture a pattern, or if that makes sense. Like I saw, like, for example, I saw a funny joke the other day and I was like, oh, I like the way that the joke was laid out. But I want to, I want to like analyze the way that this joke is put together, right? And then I want to use that pattern or those analyzations to do new jokes, but for these topics, right? And then it spits out all that good stuff, right, of how it's built, right? And you're kind of getting behind the control of the context that feels really substantial. And maybe that's the point that we're running into with this stuff is because maybe you don't see it and it happens quicker and you don't know fully what goes into it, and there's like this hidden wall or veil there, that also contributes to the fact where you're just like, well, fuck, I feel like I could have done that better maybe, like maybe, so what's stopping me from, spending extra time on it in order for me to feel like I'm getting better context and alignment to what I want?
I wish there was for some of these image generators, like a design system input the same way that like they have for like Claude design. If I could just generate that where I'm just like, I don't want golden hour. I don't want center framed. I don't want this. I don't want this like ever. Because it's like all the default stuff. Like I don't want the same type of looking character. I don't want everyone to look like they're 6 foot, 185 pounds. That's what I'm trying to like get rid of. Is like the models are good, but they're too like it requires so much detail. I just want to lock the detail in. That's all. Like I just don't want to have to do it every time.
Yep.
I'll do the detail.
It's like Midjourney's personalization expanded across different surfaces and actions.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Well, hold on. Let's see. All right, we got generation here. So let's see if we can. Let's see if this how we did on Flow. So same prompt, same image. Let's see. All right, nailed the words. I already have a cut for no reason. The ball pops up.
Jeez.
What the hell? Like, so we have here the ball pops up in the air out of nowhere, and then actually get a good swing on it. Swing and contact.
Hey.
Not bad. Look at that.
It's a trick shot. It was a trick shot.
Bang. We get the reaction after, which was in the prompt, and then like, so overall, at the end of the day, is it that bad? No. Like, this is, besides for this little piece right here, bang, and then, whatever, the cut, and then the ball popping up. Seedance did that on the first shot. This one, I'll probably have to readjust it a bunch of times, and actually better than I expected using agent mode and not just like straight flow. If anyone hasn't seen that though, just so you know, like there is, if I go back here and we start a new one, like if you start a new project in Flow, you'll see it down here. It'll have like little agent mode that you can click into. And then once you click into it, then you type, and then it'll do like a little bit more reasoning for you on what you're trying to do. You can do more complex stuff. So just a little tidbit on there on Flow. I think it's interesting that this is part of it now. It feels like everyone is racing towards the agentic. Like we need this all to be agentic.
That's especially if you got investors, they want the agentic. That was a big thing while I was at Goldcast. It was coming, and they're like, we want to push agentic hard. We want to push agentic hard, and it's like,
can you define that for me?
Well, yeah, exactly, right. Like, so as somebody who was like head of brand and content, I'm like, well, okay, but we don't just say agentic. That means nothing to people. People hear that buzzword, but they don't really actually know what that does. We need to clearly define what this does. This is a novel concept,
Yes.
But they just want to use the word agentic, bro. Like, I just, it's like, it's baffling to me. But yeah, I don't know. The agentic stuff is interesting, but I would be lying to you if I said I fully understand what that means. I mean, I know what agents do. I know how, but like, what is it true? Like, and when we're talking about these examples too, there's a lot of flaws in these. So like when I think agentic, I'm thinking automated. I'm thinking automatic. I'm thinking like I've got somebody that, somebody or something that's doing something that's going to give me high quality, predictable, consistent results, right? And I just feel like so many of these agentic things that are out there right now aren't that. They're not that.
Yeah. It's not. Well,
there's definitely some liberties to say agentic right now.
I think a lot of people just say it, and it's like part of their whole, like it's weird because agentic, right? Like agency is kind of like freedom, but we don't have freedom. They don't have freedom. They're just following prompts, system prompts, and like whatever,
yeah.
which is in that way I don't necessarily understand it, but like the agentic stuff on like Claude, like that makes sense to me because it's like I'll ask it to do a task and you can see all the work. And it's like, oh, I should check this. I should check this. No, wait, let me check this. Oh, wait, that's not it. It's like that feels agentic.
Yeah,
I didn't tell it to
call.
do any of that.
Yeah.
That's not running just on maybe it is running on a system prompt. I don't know fully, but you can see it. It's like, oh, maybe I should try this, or install this in your terminal. Oh, maybe this. So you can see it like working through the problem and testing different routes. But I think that's like I would say Seedance is fairly agentic in what it does, like what you're able to give it and how you can describe things to it and like what it's creating from that, how it's creating from that. That seems somewhat agentic, but the other stuff just seems like workflows. Like Higgsfield's, a lot of the stuff on their marketing studio and their cinema studio, it's just like a weavy workflow in the
connective
background.
tissue. Yeah.
It's just start here, do this. That's not like really thinking.
Oh,
that's
Rory.
just executing.
I thought of that funny quote. It was from your boy
one?
Josh Hart. So he was giving a press conference, and
Love
this
Josh.
is cracking me up. They're asking about analytics or whatever, and he's like, yeah, I've never been a huge analytics guy. Like at a certain point, they're just like a lamppost to a drunk person. You can lean on them, but they won't get you home. I was like, oh, that's so good. I was like, that was the quote, and I was like, oh, that's just like structured so perfectly.
He's always got stuff like that. He's awesome. Love him as a player. I don't know if anyone cares. He's a player on the Knicks, and he's a hustler, and he's just like
I love his personality. He's got like a good personality. Also, so this is kind of what I was talking about. Maybe this is like interesting. I don't know, but this is kind of what I mean by that, though. Like at the end of the day, what's really interesting, and you brought it up too with Claude, you kind of see what it's doing, like same here, right? Like analyze why this quote's so great, right? But look at the analysis of this, why it works, right? So it starts this plain opinion, turns into a metaphor, right? Blah, blah, blah. Here's the pattern. Start with a common business, personal topic, reframe it through a funny, physical metaphor, end it with a practical truth. What makes it punchy, right? Like, so it's just like, this is the value,
that's
right? Because now, now you actually have a great way to contextualize something for future needs, right? And I think people are thinking like this. I just don't know, like it's hard to say because we're in this bubble, you and me, and like we'll see some people from time to time in person, you probably more than me actually, but like that are deep in this stuff. But this, like, that's kind of like what I'm doing most of the time. Like I want to like understand what's going on under the hood so that I know what to do with it, or I can do something with it in the future. Right. Because if I were to try to explain that, what's happening, right, or I don't ask for like that proper now, like I'm going to get weaker results. Right.
Yeah.
And there's so much subjective nature that can go into it. It's like, hey, how do I come up with more, funny, sort of things like this with a metaphor? It's like, well, it's probably going to take you a few iterations to get to this versus sort of like, forensically analyzing it, right, and establishing a pattern or whatever it is. I just think that's such a great way to approach a lot of the things that we're probably all doing with AI, and again, I don't know if everybody's thinking that way. I know you are, I know I am, but
that's it. It's like if you break stuff down into their ingredients, you can rebuild it back up into something else,
yeah,
like a pizza. Take a pizza, it's just like dough, sauce, cheese, right? If you take pizza, turn it into those three things, then you can make that into a calzone. It's something different, same ingredients, right?
Oh, now you're going down the Mexican roadmap there. The Taco Bell, the old Taco Bell joke. It's like they're all the same thing. It's just different.
All the same thing. All the same thing. It's just ground beef, cheese, lettuce, tomato, and then wrapped a billion different ways.
Same thing.
Hot
Same
sauce.
thing.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, hey, one other thing I was just going to mention. This is just a little anecdote for anybody interested. Right. So OpenAI just came out with this post too. They're saying we're adding new ways for people to identify AI image generated images, understanding where they came from. So they're adding that SynthID watermark for images created through GPT Image 2. I don't know if that retrospects back to 1.5, but same thing that Nano Banana is already doing. They have a SynthID watermark on those. So it's just you're kind of seeing now other people putting that metadata in to the image in the background. Having done some of this work, I don't know if everybody knows this too, but like if you were to then take that image and put it into a tool like Photoshop, or you make additional changes to it in another platform, it can strip that out. And I say that because that could be a good or a bad thing. Could be good, maybe you don't want that in there, but also could be bad in the sense that if you're doing client work, which I had this come up with a big client, they want that in there. They have to have that in there because for their platform, they want the platform to instantly recognize, hey, this is AI generated, right? And some of those things can get stripped out. So then, having gone through that painful experience, you have to go through like EXIF tool and then re-inject the metadata back into the image. And
I haven't had to do that yet. So
anyway,
don't give anyone any more ideas.
yeah. Just
no more problems.
But just throwing that out there. So.
It's interesting though. Like I've always wondered how that's gonna sort of play. Like I feel like that's probably what Seedance is reading a lot of times, or whatever these platforms are. Like if it's already AI generated, just like let it roll. Don't, if it's a real photo metadata, then like maybe don't let it roll. But it's interesting. There's that one's. I haven't had much experience with people asking me about that, so I'm just gonna like hopefully keep that on the down low and hope no one sees this episode and like, what was Drew talking about? I don't know.
I don't know, baby.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
He's talking crazy over there. Don't listen.
Yeah, I'm it's Friday, man. We got a long weekend. Things are already wild. So
Just another problem to add to the list.
Here's that Google Pics thing. I actually didn't even know what this is. So this is their new image creation and editing tool.
Oh.
Built on Nano Banana, but with precise controls.
Wait, it's a new model?
That's what it's saying.
Did I miss this? Or is this for like...
Let's take this again.
Is it just an editing?
It says creation too.
Huh. Move runners here.
So I wonder how this sits in. So that now is this like another, like if I'm using Magnific now, is this another model I got to select just to, like connect the pieces? You know what I mean? Like that's the last thing I want to do is then go back in and because even now I'm running Pro. Like when I'm using Nano Banana, I'm running Pro and 2 because I think Pro is still great at a lot of things.
It's really good still.
You know what I mean? And then now we're going to throw this in there. Was that going to be another thing? I got to go and do a separate edit model just for that now?
Look at all the just look at this scroll.
I mean, isn't that ridiculous? Isn't that ridiculous?
4 of them. You know what I mean? It's like,
oh, you know what? It's been a while since I ran something, but Sea Dream 4.5 was pretty good.
I liked Sea Dream.
It was pretty solid.
Was it 4 or 4.5?
I don't think the 5 was as
3.
good from what I remember.
3 was good.
Let me see if I had. I guess I
It was
can't.
a nice color. What's that from?
What's this?
Yeah.
This is just me like taking one Midjourney image and then getting the
Okay.
variations.
That color is way too good for some of these other tools.
It is good. These are Midjourney images.
I knew it.
Yeah.
It's like it's way too rich in color.
I do love that tool in here. So it's like called variations. I think it's Quinn.
Yeah.
Right. But it's, just add an image, pick your aspect ratio. You can decide how many images are in that aspect ratio. And then it, boom, right? Gives you all these and then gives you all the singles
split
too.
from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it actually splits them too, which I like. It didn't even have to ask,
great.
so that's good.
Because I don't use it this way. I use it in spaces, but I know you use it this way. So it's like all the same things. It's just different view.
Yep. Let's see. Do I have now? Oh, maybe because I'm in variations now. Let's see. I know I've used it.
It's weird because like I used it a lot for a while, and then like I at like 4.5, I think I stopped, and was like, why is it not as consistent as 4 or 3.5, whichever one it was?
That's weird. I know I've used it in here, but like I did get. I think it was 4.5. Did get some pretty good results in there.
It had great color. That was the thing. I remember it being very rich and very like vivid in color. If you can't tell, guys, I like color.
Yeah.
So it's a big style point for me. I also feel like ChatGPT or the GPT image 2 is getting nerfed a little bit. You notice?
Oh yeah.
Quality wise, like it used
Quality
to be,
wise.
I feel like those first couple days it was like bangers, and now it's like doing that same green yellow thing again. Like,
is it really?
Like weird, overly grained stuff, and I don't know. Maybe it's just what I'm prompting for, but
that's annoying.
Yeah, some of it just feels like why? Like it's not. The first couple days were like, whoa, this is good. This is really good, but it's having trouble with like it can't, for whatever reason, this thing can give out, GPT. Guys, I'm all about complaints today. Just sorry. But it's all these little random things that keep coming up that, like I was trying to do a scale guide with, like a size guide of like, oh, here's the size of the toy, here's the size of the dog, here's the other size of the dog, here's the other size of the dog, right? And like I give it, like Nano can do it really easy. ChatGPT can lay out like an entire magazine and like do math in an image, but for some reason can't understand that like an 8-inch toy is not the same size as a golden retriever. Like when it says it, with the scale references, even with like a reference image of like me just cropping like the sizes.
Really?
Like, it just like won't do it. And I'm like,
really?
Why is this so hard? Like I was trying to do it like a lineup for, like when you're getting your mugshot taken. Because I figured that's an easy way to show like height, between the various different sizes. And just like wouldn't do it. And I'm just like shrink the size by, it should be half the size of that first dog. Won't do it. It's like I don't know what's going on with me the last.
That's
week
weird.
Or so. Things are just
weird.
not doing like not working the way that I'm used to. Where it's like this should be simple. Like why are these little things happening? Couldn't get Dream to say the word stump the other day. It wouldn't say stump. It would just say stub, or like stub. It wouldn't pronounce the P.
What?
It's weird, man. I don't know what's going on with me the last like week or so. I'm like very frustrated with a lot of the tools, and it's stuff that normally wouldn't happen. So yes, just so everyone else knows too, we have shit days, shit weeks, this stuff where I just want to like, you know what, I'm done. I'm done today. God, I don't know. You can't say the word stump. I've generated 10 times and probably wasted like $15 or more on this.
Just on stump.
Yeah.
God, man.
It is what it is, but
it is what it is. Well, let's rock and roll out of here. Hopefully we gave you guys something to chew on with the Google stuff and kind of just going through some of these examples, what we think, how these things are progressing. We'll see what happens between now and next week. I don't know if we'll get anything new, but I mean, we'll see. I mean, I think Midjourney 8.2 maybe. I don't know if that'll happen in the next week though. We'll see.
Probably not. I would assume after the holiday at least. So that'll be, probably drop it before July 4th, I would guess, in between this pocket here. but maybe before. Actually, they don't have to worry about quarterly earnings, but should be getting some stuff next month. We're at the end of Q2.
I want to know when we're going to get like a date on that edit model too. Like
I just want to be pleasantly surprised. That's all. Not getting my hopes up.
yeah. Like I said, take longer with it if it means getting it to a better place.
Definitely.
But all right, man.
But
Well,
you're still
who we
here.
shouting out? Who we shouting out?
You're still here. Hit that like button. Comment. Then if you still haven't subscribed yet, it's okay. You can subscribe at this point. But who can we tell? Tell your florist. How about that one? That's a new one.
I like that one.
Tell your florist.
Although you missed an opportunity there with Mother's Day. We might have called out florists. Are you sure about that?
Did we? I don't know. Maybe. So I'm just thinking about it because it's like
maybe your barber. Barbers need love.
Barber. That's a good one. Definitely. Maybe your handyman. Have we done that one? Maybe. Probably.
Do people have handyman?
We have to because we have a bill. We're in an apartment building, so everything has to be done that way.
Yes.
Or else,
Fair.
Your local elevator technician.
Yeah.
There's another one for you for anyone who lives in a building. But if they're out there, tell them to come hang out because we're here and we're coming back. We're doing more. But I think that's all I got.
All right, man. Well, let's wrap it up. Guys, thanks for joining us and have a great long holiday weekend. If you're in the States, enjoy that extra time and we'll catch you guys in the next one.
See ya.